everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is another episode of my Create This Book series with me, where I'll be filling out one page in each of my Create This Book 1, 2, and 3. For today's video, I am going to be doing these 3 pages, the Create Obscure Shapes page in my Create This Book 1. In my Create This Book 2 page, I'm going to be doing the Create Activity page. And then finally, for my Create This Book 3, I am going to be working on the Create a Sequel page. But starting off in my Create This Book 1, with the first page with the Create Obscure Shapes, it basically just tells us to make abstract shapes and try not to make any recognizable shapes. And so I decided to go very simple with this and just use some pens in different colors to do all these different shapes. This page was honestly very quick and easy to do. It wasn't particularly one of my favorites, but it was very simple and still pretty fun to do. I just kept finding myself wanting to do like normal shapes and just trying to make it completely abstract and not anything that's very familiar was a bit of a challenge here and there, but overall I did enjoy this page. You could honestly do this with any material. I just went very simple with pens in different colors. This was definitely a good starter page, a good warm-up page before I dived into the other 2 pages that I was going to be working on in today's video. But after putting my initials and dating the page, this is how the page finally turned out. It's honestly just a mess of doodles and obscure shapes, but that was the intended purpose, so I guess it's okay. But moving on to my Create This Book 2, to do the second page of today is the Create Activity page. It tells you to either draw or write or put pictures of your favorite activity in this book. And the activity I chose for this page is sleeping. I know some of you will say that's not really an activity, but the way I be sleeping and the amount that I be sleeping, it's definitely my favorite thing to do at the very least, and it's probably like my favorite thing in the world. And so here you can see on the right side I kind of just drew and wrote, sleeping as my favorite activity, but on the left side I did a little sketch of a little teddy bear in some kind of bed with pillows and a blanket sleeping, and I just colored it in with some alcohol markers. But to be honest, alcohol markers or markers in general aren't really my favorite medium to use, and I don't really use them that often, and these colors that I chose are also not colors that I normally do or use. But I wanted to try something different outside of my normal materials and colors. I know some of you would probably think that my favorite activity is like painting or drawing or something like that, customizing, but sleeping definitely is the one that I wanted to do for this page. It's definitely my favorite. I just did a simple blue background just so that it wouldn't be all white, and I did it with a highlighter because I couldn't find my blue marker. But this is how I ended the second page in my Create This Book 2. This page was a lot more fun for me than the first one. But moving on to my Create This Book 3, for the third page and the last page of today is the Create a Sequel page, where it tells us to create a sequel for our favorite book or movie. And this was really hard for me to choose, but my favorite author of books has been Kiera Cass for many years now, and this is her standalone book, The Siren, and I really wish there was a second book, and so that's what I decided to do for the sequel page. I imagine that the sequel just takes place right where the first one leaves off, with the two main characters and kind of just continuing their story and everyone else's story in the book. I don't want to spoil anything in case someone ends up wanting to read this, but I've always been a fan of Kira Cass and all of her books, but I do wish this one had a sequel. The other part of the page was to write, what we thought the sequel would be, but the second part was to draw out kind of the cover or the poster for the sequel. I did a very simplified version of the original cover and then just painted it in with my watercolor. And if you've been following my channel and my Create This Book series, you will know, because I say it all the time, that I love using watercolor painting for my Create This Book series. I don't really get a better time to use it besides this series or my Sketch With Me series. But I really love watercolor and I'm trying to get better at it. So this series is the best way to use it and to get better at it. And so I did a very simplified silhouette style of the original cover for the sequel, except I did change the color of the dress because I felt like a nice green kind of mint seafoam color would look nice. And honestly, this page is kind of tied with the Create This 2 page. I loved both of these pages so much. This one was a bit harder for me to figure out because I couldn't decide what book or movie I wanted to choose for a sequel. But once I had settled on The Siren, I had a lot of fun thinking about how the sequel would go and designing the cover, or painting it in my style, I guess. But that's all for today. I hope you all enjoyed this video and enjoyed these 3 pages that I did. I had a very good time creating them, and I greatly appreciate you all watching my videos and enjoying them, as I greatly enjoyed making them and sharing them with you all. And it means a lot to me. But thank you all so much for watching. Bye!